it on the next.
Wow.
Yeah, approve it.
Hey, you put on a little weight.
Thank you.
Where did? Not like he did.
That was, okay.
Yeah, actually, in this he didn't have one in '86, going to '87.
You know, he wasn't hiding anything, he sat right on his lawn, everybody could see it.
No kidding.
That wasn't illegal at that.
No, it wasn't.
You gotta have something to die for.
State law requires this body to announce at this time that a copy of the current Open Meetings Act is available at the back of the room where it is accessible to the public. Simpson.
Here.
Sisson.
Here.
Gibbon.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Oliver.
Here.
Thank you. If we can all rise for a moment of silence and pledge of allegiance after that. Amen. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item 1 is the consent agenda. Approve this agenda, pay the claims as submitted, $708,000 worth. We have 2 wedding receptions. That will be a special designated liquor license. Motion to approve.
So moved. I'll second.
Doug and Mike. 1 and 2. Sisson.
Yes.
McDermott.
I'll pass on this one.
Okay. Gibbon.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Aldridge.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Motion carried. Item 2, approve the minutes of the April 16th, 2019 regular council meeting. Motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Mike Sisson. Ben Johnson. McDermott.
Yes.
Gibbon.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Aldridge.
Yes.
Simpson.
Abstain.
Sisson.
Yes.
Thank you. Item 3, it is now time for a public forum. If anybody has something that you want to bring before this council that is not on the agenda, now is the time and the place for that. Please approach the table.
Mr. Mayor.
You don't need to approach the table. You're fine, right there.
Just wanted to introduce you to Officer Noah Stewart, our newest law enforcement officer. He graduated from the training center in April 17th, I believe, and he received the Firearms Efficiency Award, or I'll call it Marksmanship Award, out of his whole basic. So he'll be working with us for a long time now. Just wanted to introduce him to you. So.
They're all getting taller than you.
Yeah.
Are you getting Dennis?
Could be I'm getting short.
Welcome to the community.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for what you do.
Absolutely. He's got a good fight crying now.
I'll close the public forum then. Item 4, consider Veterans Memorial Project. We have a new spokesman tonight.
I've got a lot of backup. So, I gave you, I put out on your table here a little bit ago, a smaller version of this large sheet here. Something that looks like this. And I just wanted, basically what we wanted to do, first wanted to thank you guys for giving us the okay to use that northwest corner of South Park up there. The more I look at that, that's really an ideal spot. Don did a great job of kind of picking that out there. And as you can see with what I've got out here for right now for a layout, it looks pretty good. It fits in there nice. We get a lot of panels up there, so we can get the effect that we want and for the respect of the people that have served. In the end result, that's what we're really aiming for. But we went a lot further, I really wanted just to get this in front of you, get some input from you guys, see what you think. And then we'll kind of proceed further on with the design, start getting some costs put together. Right now, I can't even give you a rough idea what we're looking at for a cost, because you know, the granite's going to cost X amount, concrete's going to cost some. One of the current concerns I've got is we're going over top that old well house. And with the weight of these panels and whatnot, we got to make sure that what we put there doesn't sink, slide, or do anything odd for us. Above all, we don't want anything to go on, because we got to just make sure it does what it's supposed to do. One of the bigger things, once we get this all done, and no matter how our end result is, probably the biggest thing that in my mind is how we like this thing in the end. We can do something really simple and easy like a floodlight, but it's not going to do it justice. We need to do something that's really nice, and that's probably where we're going to need some help. But that comes later, after we get a better feel for what you guys think and get our design further down the road. So right now, I just wanted to throw this at you, get a feel for where you're thinking, what you like, what you don't like. Then we can kind of proceed and start getting some better numbers, etc. And then we can start also pushing this out there, try to get some donations going. So,
I was down through Oxford about a month ago, and this memorial caught my eye. And I told the guy that was with me, I said, let's take a minute to go by here. I thought this was very tastefully done, very classy. I think it'd be very good for Old Reach.
one of the things that personally I like about this, and Don and his group really had a great idea on this, is we're not going to donate or set aside certain spots for Air Force, Navy, etc. If you serve, you're on this plaque. We're not going to get excited about rank or what your position was. If you served, you're there, done. The other thing on this here, depending on how we lay this out, you know, if this goes over like we think and we run out of room, this is easily expanded. Simply by, you know, we have gaps in between each panel, we offset and center the gaps with another panel, and we can create some depth, you know. So 30 years from today, the city can still be living on and expanding with honoring all those that served, etc. So it's a rather simple design, but I like it because we can really expand it easily and rather efficiently. So,
will there be a fence around this?
Right now, no.
We don't want people to keep out, we want them to come see it.
Right.
Well, I mean, you'd have walkway through it or
Right.
something, but.
Yeah. Now there'll be, we'll have it lit, you know, so it's visible at night. You know, it won't be bright, obviously. I don't see that. But security is going to be another issue. So we cut down on vandalism. So that's going to be something we're going to have to look at. You know, that's all in that design phase further down the road. Right now, we're just trying to get our layout laid out, figure out that, and then we'll move ahead. So that's kind of what I wanted to get in front of you guys and just get a feel for it, see what you like, what you don't, etc., and go from there.
Purpose
I
of
think
the
so,
light
too.
is we need some illumination for the flag. We will only have one flag and the POWMIA flag underneath it. We're not gonna put all the other service flags in place because who's gonna be around to maintain all those flags? And you could come up to 9 flags if you had it. So that's one reason for the illumination.
Sometimes I think it's nice having the simplicity in design that keeps the focus on the veterans
Right.
instead of getting caught up in so much other stuff.
Yep.
So I think that's one of the things I kind of like with what you're doing.
Well, each service seal will be engraved into the stone, into the center tablet.
If you look over on the right side of that drawing, I've got a couple details, detail A and B. Detail A shows the service tags and kind of some of the text that we'll have on that. And that's that center piece, that'll be in the center of the monument. Then on each side, and that's only a 5-foot wide piece of granite. The other ones will be roughly 7 foot, and then that'll start where we'll start having all our names, etc. So the center piece is going to be that 5-footer. Everything's going to be 7-foot panels outside of that. So you get an idea kind of what we're looking at.
I think the one in Alma has the names just kind of intermixed, doesn't go by service, if I remember right, isn't it?
Yeah, the one at Alma, they have them World War I, World War II, and
Yeah.
then they put on if they was in the Army or Navy or et cetera, then.
A lot of information.
DAV's, the chapter DAV's feelings is that, I don't care if you were a general or a private, you served, and your name should be there. And we're not gonna put down that you were Navy, Army, Air Force, it's just that you served, you're eligible to have your name there, but you have to have a honorable discharge.
Yep.
And it's, the monument, people they've talked to, they're quoting about $200 per name.
So, I mean, that's one of those things we'll have to deal with later on when we start trying to figure out how we're gonna get this accomplished and get it so we can get all the names on there. I mean, there's obviously different funding, et cetera, but right now, we're trying to just figure out our site, our layout, get our budget in place, and then we can start getting some donations, et cetera, get things lined up.
Any idea how many names you're looking at?
Well, the first tablet, the monument people like to call them tablets. You're gonna write on them, that's a tablet. Like the Oxford tablet, it shows six seals on there. If you have another black and white photo with you that shows.
Probably deeper in your pack that Dane might try to send out earlier.
So that one, we have just the 5 seals of the services and the name, and it's gonna be first come, first served to have their name put on there. And all the tablets will be engraved on both sides, and with the amount of tablets that we could figure to start with, we'd probably have about 750 names capable. And that's with a 15 to 17 inch, 17 digit name. If you have a Solorisky Zambowski, then it's, and Joe Blow, he's gonna still be $200.
Cool. Looks like you have about a 7'4" concrete in front and back there, so
Yep.
people, you have plenty of room for walkers, wheelchairs. That looks good.
Yeah, and one of the things, Don and I were talking here before the meeting, I show a brick pattern around the monuments right now. Trying to do with walkers, canes, et cetera, probably go with more of a smooth surface. You know, we don't want to make this hindrance by, people that have to get around and that type of stuff, but basically I stuck that on there just to give you a little bit of depth, so you can kind of see, some of the intricacies of that design, so.
That 25-foot inside that arch in front of there,
Right.
what's that, just grass?
That's concrete. That'll be further concrete. One thing we don't have shown on here yet is we're gonna plant a flagpole out here. And we don't know if we're gonna go behind that center monument or in front of it. That's one of those things we just haven't had a chance to really nail down yet. But whether we put it in the front and then we illuminate it, we got room for some benches, we got room for expansion down the road. If there's a group that wants to get together and honor somebody that's on there, it's kind of be a nice solemn place for groups or family to say, hey, there's my dad or there's my sister on there.
Brian might have some ideas for lighting that down the road.
Yeah.
Possibly. I don't know with the decorative lighting part of it, but we'll get it fed one way or another. We'll either put it on the circuit for the lights in the park, or we could feed it by itself, either or.
And that's one of those things where, once we get our design figured out, and then we know what we're gonna need for load, timing, et cetera. Right now, we simply don't know. I mean, we can go Taj Mahal route and really make something really nice, and then we gotta pay for it somehow. So, we gotta come up with an efficient design that we can light it, that's respectful, and it gets the job done for what we wanna do.
So we're gonna need light on the flag, but probably want light on back and
On both sides of the monument.
front and
because-
back.
Yeah, if we have names on the back side, you have to have lights on there. And then also just for security way, you know, got kids with paint cans. It's adults with paint cans.
It's gonna take more than one light.
So, yeah, I can see multiple lights, spaced around there, maybe pole, you know, small post lights type thing, so.
Good design, looks like. Any questions, council?
Questions, thoughts?
Are those panels gonna be anchored down in some way?
Yeah, we'll set, yeah, so they don't get pushed over, et cetera. That's our granite guy. But no, that's one of those things, we gotta make sure, we get things set up right so they don't move, they don't get pushed over, all that kind of stuff, so.
The tablet that's 7 foot long, will be 8 inches wide, thick, weighs 4,000 pounds approximately.
Yeah. Be tough to push it, but then again, we don't want it to move over so it falls on somebody,
Yeah.
so,
Well, if it goes, it's gonna go.
yeah, it's gonna hurt. So, yeah, it's one of those things, we just gotta, once we get this figured out, then we can kinda get the foundation figured out so these things don't go anywhere. So,
Does it look like you're gonna start out with 4 panels then?
Well, no, the approximate cost of one of the tablets is about $20,000. That's with the granite base and then the piece that the granite is set on, and then the panel is about $20,000. We don't have that money to start, but hopefully it takes about 4 to 5 months even to get the granite. We've set our mind on ink black. When it's engraved, it's very visible from a distance. And like Mr. Young said, he had been to Oxford, they use, in my impression, they use a little too small a letter. You have to be pretty close to read it. We figured a 2-inch letter for the
So you
name.
can be out a little ways and see it, yeah.
well, so I don't have to use my glasses.
No, me too. I hate to get right out there.
We only thought we'd be able to raise enough money to get the center panel, and hopefully then, once that was visible, more donations and names would come in, and we could start putting on more tablets. So we're willingly going to accept donations from anyone at any time.
At least now you have a design here.
Our purpose for this evening, thank you for your permission to even consider it at our January 19th meeting. If we have your approval for this now, we can start publicizing and maybe start getting some donations.
Council's wishes?
I think it looks good.
I do too, I like it.
That'll be a nice, very nice addition.
It'll be a great addition to the city of Hope.
Yeah, it would be.
Yes, it will.
Be real visible coming in on Burlington there too, so.
That's kind of what I like, you get into that intersection, you're gonna see this thing.
Yep.
It's
And you
gonna-
can see it off of 4th Avenue too, it's not that far away.
It's gonna look really nice,
And if it's lit up at night, it's gonna be visible.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna look nice.
All right, any other
Move
questions,
forward.
thoughts?
Get your fundraising campaign started.
Fun times.
If Mr. King and Mr. Price will be agreeable to publicize, free,
Think you're talking to the wrong guy. Totally.
That's the word.
All right, thank
thing
you
about
guys.
the monument, veterans living or dead, or Belgium.
Cool.
All right,
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
We salute you. Do we have your permission to proceed?
Please do.
Yep.
Would you have a vote? Take a need a vote?
You need a motion?
So moved.
Second.
1, 2, Aldrich, Simpson, second.
Simpson,
Yes.
Sisson,
Yes.
McDermott,
Yes.
Gibbon,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Yes.
There you go.
Thank you.
You are.
Thank you.
Moving on, item 5, consider request to close portion of Grant Street and 3rd Avenue for a car show on Saturday, May 11th. I think that would be this Saturday.
Yes, sir. I got some flyers, if you guys want to see flyers.
Good evening, Mr. Tilson. Good evening. And you're looking to close 2nd to 3rd, and then the half block going to West Avenue and half block going to Tilden.
Yes, sir.
So,
It's a car club. It's a nationwide car club. They set it up where they were gonna just travel down to the brewery. They usually do a car cruise, so they would just stop by the brewery and then continue on. But apparently they worked it out with the weather not gonna be that great this time of the year. So they decided they were just gonna hang out down there. So they were talking to DJ. They said they had about approximately 30 cars last time I talked to them, set to come. So.
Also, Kearney has a couple of hotel options, Motel 6, Days Inns for those traveling further.
That was for the,
Kind of a rat rod,
yep,
okay?
yep. They say that other types of vehicles are also approved to drive with the Eradicate Cancer Club, but apparently it's a lot of rat rods.
Did you speak with the local businesses that it would affect right there?
I did. Yeah, I spoke with a few of them. I spoke with the Fosters right next door, CarQuest, Alpha Heating and Air.
Wagner's and,
I haven't spoke with Wagner's.
It's on Saturday, so it's
Yeah,
gonna be
it's on
pretty
Saturday
quiet.
from 10 to 5. Yep,
And Wagner's can still get into their shop.
yep. So it wouldn't really affect Wagner's. It would just be Skiles that I haven't talked with yet.
But they're not really like walk-in business, so.
Not usually,
Yeah.
not usually on, and especially I don't believe they're usually around on a Saturday
Yeah.
either. So,
So basically going to need some barricades and stuff from us to
yeah,
block the
if
streets.
that would be okay.
Want to table this, take it on next council meeting? Maybe not, maybe not. Okay.
What time are they expecting to be there?
Not 100% sure. I'd be
So-
guessing between 9 and 10.
So do you want it blocked off at 8 or at 9
Yeah,
or
probably 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock?
And then it's supposed to be over around 5, so I was thinking like either 8 to 5 or 8 to 6.
Come back about 6 and make sure
Yeah.
they're all gone.
Yeah,
Okay.
if that would be okay.
Question on, we're blocking that street off. Do we need to block it off at 4th Avenue? Because they can't, if they turn off 4th Avenue,
We'll just put a street closed ahead sign.
okay.
That would be good, because if it's closed off there and the people are trying to still bring in cars, it'd probably be better at 3rd Avenue. So then they could sit there and we can move barricades for them.
Yeah, we'll put a street closed ahead because I do know they use that parking lot for the coffee shop too,
Yeah,
so.
cool. Any more questions? Or motion to approve?
So moved.
Given, second by
I will second that.
McDermott.
Johnson,
yes.
Aldridge,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Sisson,
Yes.
McDermott,
Yes.
Gillett.
Yes. So there you go, sir.
Good luck. All right, thank you guys.
Have fun.
What's the weather forecast for Saturday?
I think it's supposed to be fairly nice. All of this stuff's supposed to come out. I hope. Yeah. You know,
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so. Wish you well. Thanks, Jamie, for doing that. Item 6, consider storybook walk in the North and South Parks. Wendy Wyatt.
Hi. Hi, Wendy.
Hi.
Everyone here's real nice.
We left on your desks one of my papers. I'm sorry I didn't make the packet in time, but here it is. I've come to talk to you about Story Walk, which is a way for families to read with each other outside. You have physical activity, you have nature, you have literacy, and you have family time all combined into one project. A story walk is when you take apart the pages of a storybook and you laminate them and you mount them on a sign, and then you put them along a path or a hiking trail or something, and the families move from page to page, reading and enjoying themselves along the way. I do have supporting literature in the page. There's a link to a document that was written by the Massachusetts Department of Early Education and Care and the Boston Children's Museum. They did a study and concluded that this was definitely worth the time and money, and the whole state of Massachusetts now has an exchange where they can trade books with each other. And communities and libraries groups can all check out stories from there. Story Walk, however, didn't start with them, though. Started in 2007 with a woman named Ann Ferguson who worked for the Department of Health. She got together with the Trails Association and their local library, and they came up with the idea and patented it or copyrighted it or whichever that is. But they encourage non-commercial places to use their thing, and there's no charge for using their idea. Now that you know what a story walk is, you might be wondering why I told you about it, and that's because I think Holdridge needs a story walk. I think it would help our community. I spoke to Michael Burris, the director of the library, about it, but their summer programming was already set, and he didn't feel that they had the manpower or the funds to add something new. I talked to Kim Parsons downstairs here. He really liked the idea and sent me to you guys to talk to you about it. I feel so strongly about it as a good program and as something that Holdridge should try that I'm willing to give my time and money to roll out a 3-book series over the summer where we would put a book in South Park for a month, up to a month, a book in North Park then for July, and then a book in downtown in storefronts in August, so that we could try to get a feel for whether or not people liked them and if it really was something that built community and increased reading in our area. That would be what I call a proof of concept. And then after that, if the books weren't vandalized or the weather didn't get to them, we still could loan them out to daycares or Head Start. I've heard about farmers markets using them because it just gives the kids a little something to do while the parents are there. The cost for the 3-book rollout would be about $300. And we'd use a logbook to try to estimate the usage and probably also try to monitor it a little bit on social media and see what the family exchanges are saying about it. I feel it's a win-win for everyone. Families play outside together, have fun, create memories. Children's build school readiness skills. Families connect to and feel ownership of their communities and their parks. So I'm wondering if you guys will support me in bringing a story walk to Holdridge.
You're wanting our support, just our blessing to let you go ahead and use North Park, South Park.
Right.
Is that correct?
Correct. Right now, and I'll talk to store owners downtown about walking from window to window downtown, which I don't think has to do with you guys, but if it does, I'm asking for that too.
You'd be putting it just in their storefront basically, and not like on the sidewalk or anything.
Well, no, the people would walk down the sidewalk, but it's actually interesting in that it's different enough because I don't have to laminate the signs, and outside lamination is very expensive.
Because it'd be mounted inside the window.
Yeah, all you gotta do is get some Scotch tape, and I've heard about in other communities that stores really like the idea because people are walking downtown and looking in their windows.
And they're stopping and,
And the downtown one, I want to do the book called C is for Cornhuskers. It's an alphabet book, and so it would be August right before school started. And that particular book, it'll say C is for Cornhuskers, and it's actually talking about corn. It talks about the Huskers later. But, but there's a young children's paragraph, and then there's an adult/older paragraph or two. And so it really does appeal to all ages, and we could get them downtown in the late summer during back to school time and whatnot, looking in store windows and hanging out.
I see here on the sheet, lamination's $180. I would suggest you try looking at ESU.
They have, it's really just for inside.
It's not that heavy or.
Not a good.
Yeah, if you're interested in the milliliters
The
and everything,
elements.
I can tell you.
Okay.
They have 1.5 milliliters, and the original group, Ann Ferguson and her group, used 10 milliliters thick plastic, but I couldn't even find that. Office Mac has 5 milliliters, and that's the price I used. But it's still significantly heavier. What I thought I would do, because I'm always one for a bargain, is maybe the introductory page that tells people, you know, what to do, or hi, welcome to the park in the storybook or story walk or whatever. I might laminate at the ESU and see how it weathers. Because if it weathers as well, or weathers significant enough for our purposes, then I'm all for cheaper laminating, yes. But this is a thicker, and you put a piece of cardboard in there.
Make it more rigid that way probably with the thicker.
It's more like your driver's license.
Good.
This is really neat, Wendy. I'm
I
excited
didn't
to,
invent
I'm
it.
excitive to see it. I've never seen anything like this before.
Yeah, and yeah, I say this, these children are obviously thrilled by it, but I also have the idea that maybe we could use political signs, and Mayor Young has even suggested he might have some in his garage, where we wouldn't have to buy the frames even until we see how it goes. Then there is places that sell you frames if you want to get permanent installation, like you'd have to pick one park or the other, and it wouldn't be as spontaneous. Or you could have temporary ones where you move different places. You know, you could do the depot, the train station, or this or that. And, or an eco project could work on it, something, you know, when I'm here in September telling you how marvelous and how the whole town wants it and you've got to do more, then we'll think about the expensive installations or whatever. But for now, I'm just saying, let's do it. Let's do it simple and let's do it.
How are you gonna do the logbook? On the, like, at the last post, are you gonna have you figured that out
Either
yet?
at the last or the first, it'll probably be similar to, if not a mailbox, the kind of flap
Okay.
open kind, with a notebook in it. One of the dangers, we have to worry about weather a little bit with a pop-up like this, because a tornado's gonna take it out. And we can't buy the most inexpensive frames to at least have a hope of it surviving. And then there's also vandals. So we're gonna try to find a happy medium where we could put an investment in it without having a huge amount of money involved for now.
So from us, you're just asking for permission to place them over the summer.
2 blessings in a row, it's easy for you guys.
Yeah.
About how many pages are we looking at? How many different signs?
Maybe 30, maybe 30. The longest walks I've read about are a mile long, which means I could go all around North Parks Lake. But somehow I think that's awful far for a kid. So I'll probably keep it shorter. But the books that I'm looking at will fit to about 30.
Cool.
And I'll just take them out, shove them in the ground one day and drive by them periodically, or ride my bike past them and make sure that there's still a coherent story in place. and take them down if there's a problem, or take them down at the end of the month.
Please call me, Elizabeth and I will help you with them.
Oh, great, thank you.
Randy?
Wendy, are you putting those on like a campaign sign that, about that size?
Yeah, they'll be, the lamination is 8.5 by 11.
Oh, okay. I just
So-
wondered if, what kind of wire sign you were gonna use, or do you have something in mind, or?
They tell you, the group tells you what size, and wood, if you wanted to buy stakes, and they're like $1 a piece. Or we could use campaign signs or realtor signs.
Yeah, that's what I was.
I talked to the screen printing people, screen management, and they said probably not the least expensive, because you guys all had campaign signs, you know. Sometimes those can even go in the wind, and it is weather season. But, you know, anything similar to the pictured, or anything with a little heft to it.
If you're looking at 8.5 by 11, that's a lot better than what I had, because what I had, most people had the bigger ones. They
Yeah.
catch so much wind. They
Oh,
would even
that's
break
true.
some of the wires.
That's true.
So, but,
They were stepping on them.
Yeah, and then we have the children, oh no.
yeah,
But I thought it would be fun, because South Park has the bee homes now, you know, you could kind of weave around into some things that people don't usually see in some of the parks.
motion to approve?
I move we approve the storybook walk for the summer.
I'll second.
And Ben Johnson seconds.
Johnson,
Yes.
Aldrich,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Sisson,
Yes.
McDermott.
Yes.
Gibbons.
Yes. There you go, Wendy.
Thank you.
Motion carried.
I know I gave you the link to it. Is anybody interested in one of these copies? Because I'd hate to have wasted the paper and all that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for doing this, Wendy.
I got bored after the bike thing. It's been 10 days, I have nothing to do.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 7, discussion of Sweet Days plans and events. Welcome back.
Yes.
The name is D-O-U-G Stevens.
I go by many other names, and some
That's
you
what I've
really don't
heard.
want to say.
That's what I've heard. Cook, chief cook.
Just wanted to get in front of you guys, just give you a heads up kind of what we got plans for Swedish Days, Rib Fest, etc. As far as Rib Fest is concerned, this is our 3rd year, and this is the first year I don't have major issues as far as access, parking, electrical. So I'm kind of excited about this year, kind of sliding it through this one. Earlier, we'll just run through Rib Fest real quick, then we'll get into Swedish Days on Saturday. I showed you the layout that I've got there. Since 4th Avenue is open now, it makes life a lot easier for everybody. So my layout really doesn't change. Our beer garden is still going to be the same. The tent's going to be over there at West and 5th Avenue, right south of Double D. And our beer garden's going to be like it was last year, expanded. It'll include that parking lot behind Double D, Grant Street, in front of the auditorium. And people can, when you can either sit there and listen to the band, you can sit underneath the tent. If you want to get out and walk around, you can go out and with your beverage of choice and wander and talk to the cooks. So that worked out really well last year. Kind of spread the crowd out a little bit so it wasn't so crowded. And we got a lot of compliments off of it. The people's tastings went really well. We're doing some things to improve that so that flows a little bit easier. We got our state contest back this year that we had last year. And we also have a sauce contest down at Lost Way Brewery later on in the evening. So we got a lot of stuff going on. One of the neat things that we added to this year, we talked to the fire department, and about 9:30 they're going to bring their ladder truck down unless they have a call. And somehow we're gonna get the flag hoisted above either the tent or the stage, shut the band down, and we're gonna do the national anthem. Kind of a start your engine type thing.
9:30 in the morning?
PM. We gotta get it dark so we can spotlight the flag. But we could do it at 5:30 in the morning, but no, we'll stay about 9:30 at night. But I'm kind of excited about that. It's probably one of those things that in the back of my mind's always been missing. We do a lot of things, and it's one of those things that would be really kind of cool to see. So that's one of the things I'm excited about. But really, overall, on Rib Fest, we're not changing a lot this year as far as our location, how we're set up. On Saturday, I believe our car show is going to be pretty much in the same spot, kind of status quo there. Those guys do a great job. They bring a lot of people into town. They kind of got their area lined out around the courthouse square. They're going to use the sidewalks on the courthouse for their motorcycle exhibit. Last year they did that, and I thought that went excellent. So it kept everybody contained in that same area, and I think the fans, the public really enjoyed that. Our parade route's the same as it's been probably for 20 years. It really hasn't changed. Where we set up and line everybody up to where we end. So that's not really going to change. And all the other events that we're going to be doing, everything's going to be pretty much what we've always been doing. So just kind of wanted to get your guys' input, what you thought, if you like it, if you don't like it, if you see something that we had to change. I talked to Kim real quickly on our fencing, and I talked to the chief real briefly today. I've got to touch base a little bit more in depth about last year. I don't think we had any issues with our beer garden. I thought it was a fairly quiet night, but I need to touch base with him, make sure. But I think security-wise, we had all our ducks in a row and make sure the right people were drinking and the right people weren't. So with that, I'll open that up to questions and thought, unless Barb, you got anything? I'm kind of rambling here, so.
You're good at it.
I babble well.
Friday night,
Why?
June 14th.
Sorry about that.
I'm leaving council.
Well, Doug, I
was worried about this.
I like what we see because we don't have the road construction to deal with and
that alone's a godsend.
oh yeah.
Yeah, last year was a unique experience with the road construction. Just getting vehicles in and out. I know, Mike, you fought that. The Street Fest fought it. Probably had worse problem getting people out on Saturday afternoon than anything. So that's not going to happen this year. I'm looking for relatively smooth flow this year, other than weather. Last 2 years, we've dodged storms on Friday night. We've had them coming and they split off north or south. So unfortunately, a matter of time. On your maps, you'll notice I've got three places called the OSRs. Pardon my French, that's the oh shit run rooms. If we have nasty weather, we have places for the cooks to go and the public to go to get out of it. So fortunately, we haven't had to use that yet, but it's unique in June, so, as we all know.
You have teams set up and serving south of the auditorium? Or is that just their extra parking space for the teams?
We'll have teams in that south parking lot, south of the auditorium, but they won't be, they're not in the people's tasting. The people's tasting will basically be on Fifth, right behind the stage, and in that parking lot right behind Double D. That's where we put all our people's tasting. So it's close to the tent, close to the band, and close. Our bar will be set up against Double D's wall on the north side of the street. That way we hit our distance away from the nearest church. I measured that. We had about 15 feet to spare, pretty tight. But so that's kind of where everything's going to be right in that area as far as people's tasting.
So the people to the south of the auditorium, they're not serving the public?
Right.
Okay.
Right. They're here strictly to cook and enjoy the day. So one of the things, just to give you a little background of last year, we had 35 teams last year here on the barbecue side. And out of those 35, we had 6 states represented that came in. We had 3 teams from Oklahoma that came out and cooked here that were excellent. Out of those, out of all the teams that were here, we had the first place team in the nation was here, Butcher Barbecue out of Oklahoma.
Wow.
And we had we had 4 other teams that were in the top 20 at the end of the year. So we have great competition. And the funny thing was, we had a local team out of Gothenburg win the overall last year. It was so fun because I would get updates on the points, in the tent or in the judges area, and it's like, holy crap, these guys are going to pull this off. And it come down to the last meet, how they fared, because each one was, I think, within a point of each other, and it was. On my side of the world, it was really fun to watch. So, great food, but,
Does it get excited?
yes,
A little.
yes. So, that's kind of where we're at, but wanted to run it by you guys, see what you thought. If you had any things you wanted us to change, you like what we're doing. If not, we're gonna proceed, and then probably next meeting, we'll come back up and we'll start asking for some stuff, just, barricades, parade route, et cetera. Kind of like what we do every year.
I have one thing. Saturday is this, the street festival, which ends around 3:30. And then last year we didn't really sponsor anything, but people were encouraged if they wanted to go to South Park for picnics and things. I believe it's from 5 to 9. The city allowed us to do a free swim at the park. I'm hoping that maybe we would be allowed to do that again. I checked this morning, and last year, there were approximately 140 people that went to the swimming pool last year in the evening. So that would be one thing that I would like consideration of.
Any questions about the Rib Fest?
I've had several people ask me when the taste testing, or when they could buy the food, and I had no idea what to tell them.
Well, on Friday nights when we had the tasting, people's tastings from 5 to 7. That's when 5 to 7 is the judging time. Now, after 7 o'clock, if they still have tickets, they still can buy some food, as long as the vendors are selling. And we allow the vendors to sell all night if they want to, because the people are there and they like to have a snack once in a while. On Saturday, after the competition, we asked the teams to donate their competition food, which is 3 steps above anything you and I can cook. And they'll throw in bags, and we raffle that food off. And that money goes to, I think we designate that money like for L2 for Kids. Actually, some of those proceeds will probably go to our Veterans Memorial Fund. So the teams, they got a kick out of the idea last year. They really enjoyed it. And we had a ton of food. The problem was last year we didn't advertise it well, and we had people going home with 3 or 4 bags of food. And that might be what they're talking about. So we're still looking to do that on Saturday. Our advertising need to be a lot better, so we sell more raffle tickets, et cetera. But it's really a pretty good time.
That'll be Saturday morning?
It'll probably be Saturday afternoon, because the cooks don't get done with the competition side till about 1:30. 1:30 is their last turning on brisket. And then after that, we gather the food. I'm going to guess it'd probably be about 3 o'clock. We'll do that like in the under the tent. But I got to look at the schedule on that. I haven't looked at that portion yet. So, but yeah, it's really, really good food.
Okay. Any more questions about Rib Fest? Can we go ahead and approve the Squeeze Days parade route? We have a copy of that too. Looks like it's pretty much the same thing for quite a few years.
I got not a question on the route, but on the second page here, you've got Amber Larson, Animal Shelter, MF Legislature, MP Assembly.
Those are from last year. I just printed off the form from last year. There will be some activities on the courthouse lawn.
So that's what that is, or, okay.
But they're going to be set over in that northwest corner of the courthouse, far enough away from the cars, so we don't have to get excited about errant things happening.
Okay.
So
There'll be some children's activities. We're going to have the train again, trampoline, bungee trampoline, and different things like that for the kids.
Okay. Thank you.
More questions? Motion to approve the.
This is just for
discussion. Yeah, this is just discussion tonight. But since it's on there for just discussion, that's all we can do. But,
Cool.
I want to talk to Ken a little bit more in depth, and I want to talk to the chief just to make sure I got my ducks in a row, because I don't need any issues.
We don't want you to have any issues.
Exactly, exactly. But, and just on a side note, the teams love coming here. I get so many compliments on having it downtown. I get a lot of questions, why don't we move this thing down to South Park or other part of town or out to the ag fit there? And it's like, the teams love it down here. They like being down here in the middle of everything. They like the downtown. They like the event. They love the people. The committee, they just really, they fell in love with town.
Cool.
It's kind of a testament to not only the committee, but to the whole Phelps County area, so. All right, I'm done. That one.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving to item 8. Approve the state of the Nebraska Department of Transportation Civil Outreach Economic Opportunity Program agreement for the paving of Gaston Street.
Yeah, this is an agreement that the Department of Transportation wanted. They had set the agreement. We had to put, the city's the lead agent on this, but they also wanted the county, because they're involved in it. So we're the local authority, and the county is the co-authority. So, and I've had Rod's looked it over, county attorneys looked it over. I sent it back to the state after I made some changes. They okayed it. And I had Allman Brothers look at it. So everybody said yes. Need to approve it and send it to the state. The county is, they said they'd put it on next week's meeting.
Okay.
I move we approve.
I'll second.
Mike Sisson.
Sisson,
Yes.
McDermott,
Yes.
Gibbons,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Aldridge.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Thank you, motion carried. Item 9, approve the local authority business economic opportunity program agreement for the paving of Gaston Street.
This is this agreement is between the city and Allman Brothers and the county as co-authority. And they've, once again, everybody's went through it and approved it.
One thing I want to mention on this is I've already had some residents come up to me and say the paving of Guston Street is going to be funneling heavy-duty traffic down 18th past our new elementary school. So we're gonna have to maybe beef up that crosswalk there, maybe with some lights or like flashing lights or.
I don't foresee a lot of truck traffic.
I think it's something that we can look at once it's paved.
Yeah.
and
Yeah, that's
check
what
the
I'm saying.
city.
I'm just saying down the road, it's gonna come up down the road.
Oh, it's come up.
It's come up ever since.
I think Ben's right, let's keep that in mind.
Any other questions for Bob? Need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Aldridge, second by Johnson.
Simpson,
Yes.
Sisson,
Yes.
McDermott,
Yes.
Gibbons,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Aldridge.
Yes.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Item 10, award bid for a new police vehicle. I think everybody should have a copy of the bid. 2 bidders.
Good evening. If you'll remember, last council meeting, we had bids, but they were both thrown out. Jensen's could not find where there was an auxiliary battery that was available for them to order in the police package they were looking at. At that time, their bid was $32,755, and the state bid was $34,198. That was $1,443 less, Jansen, but they didn't have the auxiliary battery. Dane sent out the specs once again, and bid opening was yesterday at 1:30 in the afternoon, in which I think Jansen's had called Dane sometime in the last few weeks and said they had found that auxiliary battery, and their bid at bid opening yesterday was $33,910. That was an increase of $1,155. The state bid, of course, remained the same at $34,198. So there's, Jansen said the low bid, it's $288 less than the state bid.
Any questions?
I'm so glad we have a local dealer that was able to make this, to get the specs so that we could buy locally. And we'll save a few bucks. But very encouraging to see that there were no exceptions this time around.
I think Dane said we had two other businesses that had inquired, and he sent the specs out to, but their bids were not received. I don't think they were received at all, but they had inquired and we sent them the specs. We thought perhaps they would be sending that in a bid also, but they did not.
I've talked to an officer in Kearney over the weekend, and their exporters all have the second battery, and he said, I would highly recommend.
Yeah, I think it's needed.
Well, so your battery don't, or your radio don't run down your car battery.
Plus computers
Everything else.
and car cameras, and you're charging your battery for all sorts of things.
What's the committee's recommendation?
I think we recommend go ahead and accept Jansen's bid.
For $33,910? You have the motion?
I'll second that.
Mike Sisson seconds.
Aldrich,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Sisson,
Yes.
McDermott,
Yes.
Gibson,
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Thank you. We'll see about getting it ordered as soon as we can. They have 120 days to get it.
Thank you.
Christmas.
We'll do 11 and 12 in closed session, but we'll go up to open discussion. Bob?
No, thank you.
Mr. Clerk?
No, thank you, Mayor.
Chief?
No, nothing.
Ben?
Nothing.
Randy?
Bob had our latest sales tax information in there. I don't know if everybody looked at it, but it's not going the right way. Keep that in mind.
Shopco and online.
Well,
The ag economy hurting us too, so, yeah.
that's it there.
Doug?
I don't have anything.
Mike?
Not at this time.
Mary?
I'd like to apologize for being late to tonight's meeting.
I started early. I started at 6.
6 is pretty early, now that you mention it.
No, you didn't miss anything. Look.
Nothing.
Rod?
Nothing.
Kim's ready to go to school.
He's the one to get out of here.
Come on.
I have nothing.
Couple items. Come to my attention, food trucks. I don't know what our regulations are, food trucks. Local businesses sound like they get hurt the days that we have food trucks.
Are the food trucks collecting sales tax for the city of Holdridge when they're inside our limits?
Yes.
It should be.
They weren't, but we got them.
And
My
they
wife
have,
noticed that on the receipt one time.
and they have state health inspector certificates in those food trucks, right?
I presume so.
Yeah.
Good enough for me.
The local business is complaining about they have to pay real estate taxes, they lose sales whenever, but just bring that up.
Well, they don't pay for their
Uh,
license plate, they don't pay for license plates.
Thanks for upgrading West First Street, raising that up. The owners out there on Helena Chemical. I drove out there. It's a big improvement. There was some talk about pickleball on the South Park that used to be the tennis court. But anyway, moving on. We need a motion to go into closed session for item 11 and 12, purchase of real estate, and item 12, sale of real estate.
So moved.
Second.
Who seconded that?
Larry.
Gibbons?
Simpson,
Yes.
Sisson,
Yes.
McDermott.
Yes.
Gibbons,
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
what do you call them?
Sir.
It's kind of like a combination of.
Thank you
tennis
for